Choosing a favorite memory or a favorite thing about you guys is like impossible because there's too many things to love. It's like telling me to go down into the basement after everyone's made chocolates and just choose one chocolate. Like that's impossible. There's too many good things.
I love it when we go on the porch and we eat popsicles and watch the moonflowers outside.
Some of the things I love most about you are just how positive and warm and loving you are and encouraging, and how you just always seem to think everything I do is wonderful. And
what other grandchild can say that they've ridden a tube with both their grandparents? You guys are so great just to do so many fun things.
Greetings from Colorado Springs. I love it how every time I come to your house, there's always a batch of bread ready for me, along with salsa, Otter Pops, and more.
Okay, I'm just grateful for Grandma and Grandpa for coming to all of my soccer games, and they always support me. And Grandma and Grandpa, you're a really good example to me for when you served your mission.
And when I was little, I always loved it when Grandma and Grandpa Halliday would show up at my basketball games. That for some reason was just the best thing to me. Seeing Grandma and Grandpa come watch me play some basketball.
All right, this is take number 3. We got Champ and Titus. Okay, Champ, what do you like about Grandma Halliday's house?
Horses.
And the waffles.
Wobbles.
The waffles are good, huh? What else do you like?
The horses.
The horses? Yeah, okay.
One reason I like to go to Grandma and Grandpa's house is because they have an unlimited supply of ice cream.
We would beg our dad to come stop in here on the way home from the lake all the time. Just a whole bunch of great memories, and love you guys so much. Thanks for everything you do.
it was Nicholas's birthday, and I remember you came over and you brought him a present, and he unwrapped it, and it was a feather duster, and we all laughed and he laughed. And then he looked to you, I think expecting you to pull out the real gift, but you had just gotten him the feather duster, and I remember thinking that was so funny. So that was a good memory.
Grandma is such a hard worker, and I really want to be like her in that aspect, and really all aspects, but especially that one, because I just feel like that's something that is really becoming scarce in today's society. And so I want to cultivate that attribute of hard work in myself and in my family, and I can look to Grandma for her example of hard work.
When she used to live in one of her older houses in Brigham City, she had a hot tub in her backyard. And I remember once, I don't know if we were spending the night or what, but me and my sisters were in the hot tub, and we would get out and we would run around in the snow, I think, in the backyard, and get really cold, and then we would jump back into the hot tub.
I don't know how many people can say this, but my grandma probably watches more ESPN than I do. Not a joke. She is totally up to date on her sports. It's kind of embarrassing, but she probably does know more about sports than I do. But she's awesome. She's always keeping me up to date on what's going on in the sports world.
I love it when you come visit us and make kitty pancakes.
She feeds me lunch every single week, and I'm grateful for her and her supporting me in volleyball for my freshman year.
A few years back, I probably mentioned to Grandma once or maybe twice that I really liked the gingerbread cookies that she made. And it seems like the next few times that I went to visit her and she knew I was coming, she would always make those for me. And same thing with her white chocolate popcorn, which is so good. I told her how much I liked it, and I just remember that she kept that in mind and would always make it for me. Even once I was heading off to college and she sent me with a bag of white chocolate popcorn, and I just remember feeling, I don't know, just special. Like, she remembered that and she made it just for me, even though she has like 25 plus grandkids to keep track of, and she makes each of us feel like we're important and special, and she makes us all feel loved.
She's just so good at making everybody feel like they're amazing. Like, even if you're really not. Like, she always can find something that to make you feel good about. There's always something that she can pick out and make you feel like it's like a million times better than it probably really is. But she's just really good at that, at making you feel loved and making you feel like you're special.
And what other grandma would be okay with us throwing colored macaroni and colored mashed potatoes on her? I don't know of any other grandma that'd be okay with that.
Yeah, I would just like to say to Letty just how Christ-like you are. You're just always willing to serve people around you and looking for opportunities to help everybody. I love how you put together family home evenings every month, and getting together with a family and trying to create just a big, strong family. And that's something that I would love to have one day, is how strong your family is, and to raise a family in the gospel like you have. And I just see that. I see how strong your family is, and it's just a big example that I would love to follow.
I just loved always going to your house every Fast Sunday for dinner and family home evening, and that there were so many good memories from those Sundays, and I always loved your rolls and ate way too many of them.
I remember having a conversation with Grandma when she returned home from her mission. And she was telling me that she was having a hard time adjusting. She just felt like she needed more opportunities to do things for other people. I will always remember that conversation because I was just so touched by her desire. I mean, she just had returned from this rigorous mission and was feeling like, I need to do more. I need to keep serving and to keep blessing people's lives.
My favorite thing about Grandma is she always has a joke to tell, and I love when Grandma laughs too. I feel like Grandma's always trying to make everyone laugh.
One time Grandma played volleyball with us at Hanson Park, and it's one of my favorite memories from Hanson Park because it was so funny. She did great. I remember a lot of times in high school I'd bring a bunch of teammates over for a little pregame snack, and I think most of the time we just came over unannounced, and she always had soup or bread or whatever in the fridge for us. And thinking back, I probably should have warned her that we were coming over, but...
So in high school, one of my seminary classes, the teacher had us fill out a get-to-know-you form that had, obviously your name, your age, where you were born, hobbies, interests, things that you liked, and things like that. And on that sheet, I think one of the lines was favorite places to go. And people were putting down places they would like to go, like Hawaii or the Caribbean or all these extravagant places. And mine, I put Grandma's house. And keep in mind, so this was high school, so I was probably a junior or senior, so 17, 18 years old. And so they read mine and they say, favorite place to go, Grandma's house. And it took a while for them to guess me, but when they guessed me, they're like, Grandma's house. I was like, yeah, my grandma's better than yours. She's way cooler than yours. But Grandma's house has always been, one of the hit places to go. She's always got a loaded freezer of ice cream, popsicles, bread, rolls, goodies. Grandma's always made sure that we were taken care of. It was always fun and a good time to go to Grandma's.
I used to always go to Grandma's with my friends, and that was like my hangout spot. Honeyville was too far away, and we didn't really have a cool place to hang out as friends there. And so I would bring all my friends to Grandma's house, and we would play on her ping pong table and play pool and watch movies. And I would bring lots of pizza from Papa Murphy's where I worked to Grandma's and cook that up, and we would eat pizza there. And it was always just fun having that as a place I can bring friends and hang out. Grandma was always super nice. She was very welcoming, and then we would go downstairs and she would just kind of stay out of the way. But we loved spending time at her house.
And as well as like really took the time to try and teach me how to cook in high school. She let me come there almost every day when I didn't have a 4th hour to come and cook. And I just love you for that.
A couple funny memories. I remember staying at her house. Okay. When I had to work really early in the morning, and I remember a date came and picked me up at the house, and he came in and wanted to talk to Grandma. And the next morning I woke up and Grandma had left a little something for me to eat to go to work, and a big sign with red letters that said, "I approve of that date last night." We never went on any other dates, but I always thought that was funny.
And ever since I was a little kid, I have always loved Grandma's laugh. Like, there is nothing better than when Grandma just has like a good belly laugh. It's contagious.
Doesn't Grandma just have the best laugh ever? There's just something about it. It just makes you smile and want to laugh too.
She always says, "How are you, my dear one?" or "I love you, my dear one." And I think it's really cute, and I hope that that's something I'll always remember.
And from all the support that they have shown us, from sports, from wrestling meets, from mission letters that Grandma was very faithful to write every week, which is a huge lift for missionaries out there to have some words of encouragement from home.
Grandma was a rock star letter writer. I think she was 100%. Every week for 2 years, I am almost certain I had a letter from Grandma or an email. Always give me updates of what was going on back home, and always an encouraging note. I'm pretty sure even my mom missed a week or two because she was on vacation, but Grandma was dang near 100%. So she's the all-star, letter writer.
One thing I love about Grandma is how selfless she is. She's always doing things for other people. Just a month ago, we had to go spend the night at Grandma's with our kids because my mom's house was full. And Grandma's probably spent 15 minutes trying to make sure we were comfortable and that we had everything we needed, when really we could have taken care of it ourselves and we would have been just fine. But she goes, out of her way to make sure everyone else is comfortable, and she's very selfless in that aspect.
Bless your soul. I just had this dress that I really wanted to take on the mission, and Grandma, it would needed to be fixed. And so I took it to Grandma, and she was just more than willing to make it work for me, even when it was probably something that was dumb and I probably just should have gotten a different dress. But she took the time to sew a piece onto it, and taught me how to do it.
Grandma, another thing I love most about you is how service-oriented you are. And I picture you just always baking something yummy. Your kitchen always smelled delicious, and it was always full of goodies. And I just remember you always bringing things over to our house to share, that you were just always delivering goodies.
Grandma is just so self-giving, and she'll do anything for you if you ask her. And
one thing I love about Grandma is that she's always willing to help. One time when I wanted to play pool, but the ping pong table was on, Grandma helped me take it off.
One thing that I love about Grandma is that she's always cheerful and happy.
I remember when we were younger at Grandma's old house, so we were just little kids, but this really illustrated the fact that Grandma was so loving and so giving. She would give us anything, probably even if it was stuff that was important to her. Hopefully some of that stuff got returned, but I remember going into her library room, and Cody and Jason and I, we would always be, pulling and picking books off the shelf, grabbing as many books as we could and taking them home. Goodies. Grandma was always giving us things, and it was stuff that we probably shouldn't have been taking as kids. But I remember Grandma specifically saying, anything in my house, you can have it. It's yours. She was always so loving, so giving. Didn't matter what it was. She would give it to you, she wanted to make sure that you were happy and that you felt loved. So I remember looking back on that, thinking, Grandma, you know, she is so giving, so selfless. And that was a good example that illustrated that. And us kids, we took it all. But I hope some of that stuff made it back.
A favorite memory I have with you, Grandma, is when I was in the hospital for one of my surgeries, and you came for one of the days just to be with me. And it was so fun just to talk and to just be with you, just me and you. I thought it was so fun just to hear, stop, just to hear experiences from your life, and I'll just always remember that. What's so funny? When I had just gone through the temple, I had some questions, and Grandma was the one who could answer those for me, and I was kind of nervous to go through the second time by myself, but she was just so great and explained stuff to me, and just always makes me feel calm about those kind of things.
Grandma's great at making you feel like you're a rock star. I don't think she has ever thought anything bad of any of her grandchildren. On my mission, and I'm sure a lot of missionaries have heard it, they say to be the kind of missionary that your mom thinks you are. And I always thought, well, I should be the kind of missionary that my grandma thinks I am, because I knew that she always just thought so highly of me, even though I don't probably always deserve it.
Also, all the cards that Grandma writes, I love those because they're always genuine, and she always makes you feel like you're important and that she loves you. And
this just barely happened, but it's something I always want to remember. After I had my surgery, the doctor told me I couldn't pick up Beckham, and Chris had to go back to work, and his bedroom's upstairs, and I was like, how am I going to do this? And so my mom said, I'll fly out and I'll help you, but Mom's back isn't very good either, and so Mom couldn't pick up Beckham, and so she said, well, I'll bring Grandma with me to help pick up Beckham, and so Grandma came, and it was so fun to have her here. But I loved that she had to come and be the muscles. Like, I couldn't pick up my baby, and my mom couldn't help me pick up the baby, so Grandma came to be the strong muscles and carry him up the stairs and get him into bed and get him changed, and she was just so willing. She was so willing to come and do anything that I needed and to help, and I love that about her, and that's something that I want to emulate in my life. I hope that when I'm old, I can be coming and lugging my great grandkids up the stairs and helping out in any way that I can.
I remember one time I came home, and I remember telling you about the next thing I was training for and looking forward to, and you listened and you told me how neat that was, and then you said, I never really had time to do that. I never did much of that, or something to that effect. And it was kind of an aha moment for me, because I remember thinking how you are practically perfect and how I want so much to be like you, and that maybe I was spending too much of my time on these other things, and that time could be used more productively towards serving and doing some of the other selfless things that you would do to help others. And so you've been a good example for me.
One of my favorite memories with Grandpa is actually when we were in the Philippines, and I got in his truck for the first time and saw him drive like a crazy Filipino driver. It was seriously so fun and a little bit scary, but I was so impressed with him and just honestly so amazed, and it just made me so happy.
One of my favorite memories of Grandpa is his homecoming talk from their mission from the Philippines. And I wish I remembered exactly how he phrased it, but there was a part in his talk where he was talking about driving in the Philippines, and I remember laughing so hard how he referred to driving in the Philippines and how he loved it, that maybe there was a little bit less structure and he could just drive around cars, and the fastest car won and the biggest car won. And then he made a comment to the fact that he only ran one person over, and it was just so funny.
One thing I love about Grandpa is that he let me build something with him.
Grandpa has got to be one of the sweetest people that I know. He's just happy and he's easygoing and he's always happy to see you. And he gives the best hugs and just makes you feel loved.
Norm, I just say that you have just the biggest heart. You are so caring for other people, and you just help me to feel comfortable whenever I come to the family parties, and willing to talk to me and see how I'm doing.
Grandpa, I love the way that you just pull me into a hug and ask how I'm doing, and I sure get to missing you this time of year.
I love Grandpa Norm hugs. When we moved to Virginia, that was legitimately one of the things that I missed, was hugs from Grandpa Norm. You can feel how much he loves everybody. I don't think there's a kinder soul on the planet than Grandpa Norm.
One thing I love about Grandpa is that he's also so willing to help other people.
I still remember my very first hug from Grandpa Norm. It was when actually they were engaged, and I was so happy and I was so excited that he was going to be my new grandpa. And so I was really nervous, but I just wanted to give him a hug so bad. So I finally just ran over to him and gave him a hug. Still remember that. It was so special.
And Grandpa Norm has a huge heart of gold, and I love the story. I love when he helped pour cement in the Filipino family that did not have one of the things we take for granted in this life of just having a cement floor or a carpeted floor, and I think that was a great example to all of us of their selfless service.
You are very talented as well. I am amazed how much you can do just with your hands. And I love how you use your talents to be able to serve those people, like for other people.
As a little kid, I always liked to go in Grandpa's shop. I thought it was the biggest thing ever. Go look at all his tools. I just thought it was so cool.
And whenever he sees me, he always tickles my back.
Grandpa is the best salsa maker in Brigham City. Love his salsa, and he'll whip you on a game of pool if you ask him to.
And my favorite memory from Grandpa Holiday is going flying with him.
Grandpa Norm took me on my very first bike ride at Antelope Island, the Moonlight Bike Ride, and it has been one of my favorite things. We've done it a few times since then, and I absolutely love it.
He's just like the best. He's so kind and so loving.
A favorite memory I have with Grandpa is the bike ride we went on. Dylan, what face are you doing? The bike ride we went on last summer. I think it was last summer. But I just remember that I was dying the whole time. Was so out of shape, and Grandpa was just killing it. And so was Marie and my mom. But that was so fun. I loved doing that, and you got us ice cream after, and it was so much fun.
One of my favorite memories with Grandma and Grandpa is when I was in the Philippines, and every morning we'd wake up and do a little morning walk and just all the adventures that we had in the Philippines.
When Grandpa very first met Chris's mom, she told him her name was Claudia, and he said, "Oh, that's a beautiful name." And she said, "No, it's not. I hate the name Claudia." And he said, "Well, it's better than Claude. At least they don't call you Claude." And she said, "Well, that's what everybody calls me." And he said, "Oh, that is a beautiful name." And he just said it so sincerely, and we all started laughing because that's just Grandpa. He just tries so hard to make everybody feel good and to be kind and just to love everybody. And that always, we still bring up that memory and laugh about it because it just was so sweet. He just was so genuinely sincere when he said that.
I remember when we were planning out our house, I really wanted an open stairwell, and to do it with our builder was way expensive, and so I was trying to figure out if we could do it on our own, And I wasn't sure if we could because we had a lot going on. But then I remember the thought occurred to me that Grandpa would probably help. And even though he's got a million things going on and he's always busy with different projects, he was more than willing to help. And not just with our stair rail, but with a lot of things in our house. He really was a huge help, and we were very grateful for his selfless service, and we're lucky to have him.
He made me this jewelry holder. It's got a top piece that holds earrings, and then it has a bunch of hooks that you can put bracelets and necklaces on. And it is seriously the best jewelry holder. I still use it. And I know he made that for me by special request. I think I saw him make one for someone else, and I was like, I want one of those. And he made it just like that, and I love it.
He's helped me build so many things. I've got a bench on my front porch that he helped me build. He's built picture frames for me. I can pretty much go to him with anything that I need, and he is always 100% willing to help me out. And I love that about him, and I appreciate that so much.
Grandpa, I love your video that you made before you went on your mission about making salsa. And that's been one of my favorite things. And you need to come visit me so I can take you on a bike ride. We have lots of trails, and I've been thinking that I want to take you on some of the trails by my house.
A big example that Grandma and Grandpa are to me is of service. I remember how every Christmas we do something service related, whether we fill up baskets with like food and money and just things that people need, or we give money to people that are in need.
You guys are just the best. We've learned so much from you guys, your example. Like being a temple worker, we even had some people down by our house. They were saying, man, they're just celestial beings working in the temple, you know.
Grandma and Grandpa are probably two of the most Christ-like people that I've ever met. Always looking to meet the needs of others and make sure that they're happy, that they feel comforted, that they feel loved. And always doing things that the Savior would do that if he was here. So I've always loved and admired both of them for that, and appreciated that example in my life.
I think all of us in the family can say that much of who we are is due to these great examples in our lives. It's easy to feel at home when you're at the holiday home that Grandpa Norm has built, that has been such a fun place for all of us to get together and grow together.
I just know that they're probably like the best grandparents you could probably ask for, and that they just want to help you.
My grandma and grandpa are the most selfless people that I know. They always put people before themselves, making sure that everyone else is taken care of, and that's what I love about them.
One of the biggest examples they've been to me is going on a mission and showing us they can do hard things and we can do hard things too, because missions aren't easy, especially if you're going to a foreign country and where no one speaks the language. So their example of doing hard things is a good example to me.
I love a quote from Elder Holland he gave back in October 2008. I thought this was perfect for Grandma and Grandpa. It says, "When we speak of those who are instruments in the hands of God, we are reminded that not all angels are from the other side of the veil. Some of them we walk with and talk with here and now, every day. Some of them reside in our own neighborhoods. Some of them are Grandma Letty and Grandpa Norm. Indeed," he goes on, "heaven never seems closer than when we see the love of God manifested in the kindness and devotion of people so good and so pure that angelic is the only word that comes to mind."
You both, Grandma and Grandpa, have been through hard things in your life, and you guys, every time I think I'm going through something hard, you make it so that we can go through it too. And you always know what to say, and I love you guys more than you will ever know. You guys are the best grandparents any grandkid could ever ask for. And I hope you guys have a Merry Christmas this year, and you are so loved.
Yep, we sure love you guys. Have a Merry Christmas.
Have a Merry Christmas. Dax, can you say, love you?
Thank you.
Grandma?
Mama.
And Grandpa.
And Papa. Hi, Grandma and Grandpa. Merry Christmas. I love you, Grandma. I like playing at your house. Merry Christmas.
I love you, Grandma.
Love you, Grandma.
Thanks for watching me all the time.
You watch me at time.
And play toys.
I play toys.
Okay, say bye.
Okay, bye.
See you later.
Later.